The controls. So as well as using the big things like if statements and using variables within code to do, I suppose, more complex type of things, it's worth knowing all about the other bits and pieces which might be of use to you when you're doing some programming using Visual Basic within Visual Studio. So this tutorial or this video basically shows you bits and pieces, and I expect you to be basically replicating this when you finish watching this. So the first part of this is talking about list boxes and combo boxes. So a list box, if we find it from the toolbox on the left-hand side here and double click it basically allows you to click on this little arrow at the top and add a list of items to this. So potentially then we could have a list of all 600 odd Pokemon which are out there. So Charizard, it's going to take me a while to type all these out. Now the one thing I'm going to suggest to you all as you are typing things in, don't actually put space at the end and press enter because it does mess up things when you're actually saying checking what's been selected, which you'll see problems with as you go further. But at this point, you won't need to worry about the space at the end, but it's just common practice not to add a space on the end at all. So if I press OK and I press play, so I can show you what that looks like. So there's our list there, Pichu, Charizard, Ditto, Blastoise. So I can't actually do anything with these. I can just click on them. But what you are going to be doing in addition to adding a list box like I've just done is adding a text box, which will allow you to type in um, another name. And then you're going to have these four buttons. So you're going to add things to the list. And as you can see, the list is kind of like, I can't actually adjust it up there. But if I just add one more item to this and add it again, you can see then you can actually scroll up and down and see everything in the list then. So I might want to remove something. So I don't particularly like Pichu. So I'm going to click on Pichu and click on remove, and that gets taken off. I can press count, and the count will tell me how many items are in the list. And I can also press sort, and it will sort it alphabetical order for me. So I'm not going to show you how to do these things because you know how to do buttons, you know how to do tooltips, you know how to add the cursor to them by now, hopefully. But all I do want you to do is look at the VB glossary. And in terms of list boxes and combo boxes, which we'll talk about in a moment, everything you need is basically there in terms of what I've just shown you with those four buttons. Right, additionally, you can also add, and let me just stop this because it's still running. You can also add a combo box, which I actually refer to as a drop-down menu more than anything. Mine's gone really slow at the moment. So let me just show you what they look like when you bring them in. So combo box looks exactly like it does there on the screen. You click on the arrow again, edit items, and you choose what's going to be in that drop-down menu. So you just type them out without the space on the end as well. So let me just cancel that away, press delete. And from our drop-down box here, you can see that I've added a set of colors. So I want you to set up a combo box with a button which says submit. And again, you're going to make sure you've got a tooltip on there as well, please. And the idea is when you choose something from here, so red, for example, or maybe even black, I press submit and I get a message box, which I'd like yours to be a bit tiny, to say you chose black. So you'll need to put an if statement together. And let me just close that bit down, which basically checks what the content is from there as well. So if I just roll up a little bit, it's not checkbox there, it's the combo box. So it is basically kind of using, hinting some of these here to check what's been selected in the combo box and then display a message box to say, this is what you said, right? Now, I've also added next on here. So normally I have a button which takes me to the next form. This is actually called a link label. So I kind of, like in one of our earlier videos, found a label and it also, when I did a search, I may as well do that now to show you. And I also had a link label, like, ooh, what's that? Now, basically, it's just another way of getting around. So it's basically a hyperlink, which will take you from one, well, allow you to do whatever you want it to do. And the code I've added onto that is just simply that part there, which we've seen before. So it's just another way to get around. And if you're sick of buttons, there's already five on this slide, or this slide on this form, then it's sometimes nicer to do like a link on it, and it's easy enough to do. Now, on the second form, we're going to have radio buttons and checkboxes. So radio buttons you will find again down here, and you can do a search for them. Just double click them and they'll appear like that. And the nice thing about radio buttons is it actually gives you the text to go with it. So well, obviously it says radio button free, but down here on the right hand side where the properties are, I'd want to type in what I intend to have on there, which I obviously did with the married and the single as well. And we've also got checkboxes and checkboxes back up this way somewhere. If I double click on the checkbox, it basically appears like that in the same way. So what I want you guys to do with the checkboxes, if I just on the radio buttons, what you'll find is when you go to radio buttons, it's already kind of got one selected. So radio buttons are kind of great for that reason because it always makes sure that you have an answer selected. But obviously, you need to encourage people to go and actually click on whatever is suited to them. But with checkboxes, you can tick a number of things. So you could have like 20 checkboxes and you can tick all 20 if you wanted to, or just one. And one of the things I'd like you to do with this, as you notice there, I've got this submit button. When I hover over it, I can't actually do anything, and it's not because I forgot to do the cursor thing. Because look, as I'm clicking on it, it's not doing it. But you're going to do a little bit of code just to make it so it becomes enabled when you actually tick this, and when you untick it, it becomes unenabled. So do you know when you go online and you fill in like an application form, and then it says, "I agree to the terms," blah 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 blah, and there's a tick box next to it, and then you can't submit it until you tick it. That's pretty much what that is, and that's how it works there. So again, like on the visual, on a VB glossary, there is a little bit on there basically saying, well, a little hint there in terms of what you need to do, and all these are on page 6. And I think a little bit further up, there might be something which might help you a little bit with making buttons enabled and true or false. So I was going to say unenabled, that's not even a word. But like I said, the plan is that you make 2 forms just as the way I've done them, and I need you to code them up to basically learn how to do checkboxes in particular, how to do list boxes, how to do combo boxes or drop-down boxes, and how to make them work effectively. Off you go, please.